Hello, Sunderland dropped points this weekend at home against Oxford, which was a surprise in some sense because we've been winning games and people have been, excited, myself included, for these home games, thinking we're going to do what we did to Scunthorpe. That wasn't the case this weekend. Oxford, for the main, came well drilled, well organised, clearly had a game plan that worked. But we'll talk obviously more about the game as we go on. But we went in confident, I think, of a win. Oxford just won the league win the season before this weekend, third bottom. I think they were 22nd, although they had won the last two games in League and Cup. Came down, get the start of the game, and it doesn't look like, it certainly looks a million miles away from that Sunderland team we played Scunthorpe a couple of weeks ago, because Sunderland were just all over the place. Couldn't get a foot on the ball, struggled in every department, to be honest. I mean, apart from Jack Baldwin, who was, well, not world class, nearly jumped in world class, but I pulled out. But Baldwin was very good, probably the best player on the park, very solid, as he has been since he signed for. But just all over the place. We couldn't get a grasp on the game. Oxford, were just better to a man. Obviously, the key things in the first half was the Oxford goal, free kick, really good goal by Holmes. Could McLaughlin have done a little bit better? Probably, maybe, I don't know, but he's rescued him many times already this season, so I'm not really going to put any blame on him. But then we've also got the Max Power red card, which has been contentious. Seems to be most people think it was a yellow, but there is a portion who think it's a red card. For me, it lies in that very iffy middle ground of, if this is a yellow card and this is a red card, it's in the middle somewhere. It was about 1.5 yellows, because people are saying it's a trip in midfield to stop playing. It happens every game, and I think it was more malicious than that. Like, I think that you're fiddling the rule a little bit there if you're saying that's what it was, because it wasn't. He goes in, he has no intention of winning the ball. I mean, firstly, no intention of winning the ball. Didn't. Number 2, it was a slide tackle. Number 3, from behind, and number 4, he does take the player out. So you got them 4 things there. And you are asking, you're giving the referee the choice to make a decision. And I think referees might have given him a yellow card, but it was no surprise to see him pull the red card out. I don't think many people in the stadium were surprised, if they were being honest. And I think, had it been the other way, I think we would have been whinging. Had it been the Oxford player and he didn't get sent off, we would have been probably whinging. So it was an iffy one. I'd erred on the side of red card, but I wouldn't have been surprised to see it yellow. I think it's just that iffy middle ground for a decision for the referee. But that being said, the red card to Power probably left Chris Maguire off the hook. He should have been sent off for a second yellow card. He just, again, felt like the occasion kind of got to him, which is weird because he was meant to be this big occasion kind of player, and it was just, just silly decision making. There was a few times players were on yellow cards and they were going in for tackles, like they didn't have one. It's like, you've got to be clever, you've got to be smart. Catamol, normally the one that we all jump on straight away to say that he's jumping in for stupid tackles. He was the one who was on a yellow card, but did a good job of not diving in, and did his job without having to dive in. So it was interesting from that perspective. Half time came. Actually, no, Oxford also should probably have had a player sent off as well in the first half for a bad looking challenge, which, again, it just feels like the referee almost felt a little bit overawed by the occasion. And I think the game was hard for the referee because Sunderland were, I would say that they were dirty. They were fouling Oxford almost at every opportunity. Now, that being said, the referee didn't get a good lid on it. The way the game was going, he probably shouldn't have sent off Max Power. That tackle is in isolation, then maybe a red card, but the way the game was, it was such a dirty game. Do you send off Max Power? And because he did send off Max Power, I think that stops him sending off Maguire, Oviedo, and the 2 Oxford lads whose names have just slipped my mind. So there could have been 5 red cards. The referee gave 1, and Max Powers was probably the one that was, as Carl Robinson said, the least of a red card. That being said, doesn't mean it wasn't a red card, because the other 4 should have been off. Second half came anyway, and Jack Ross does what Jack Ross does. He makes some tactical decisions that seem to work more often than not. He brings on Charlie White at half time, and that lifts the crowd. I think that lifts the team, and Sunderland sort of galvanised a little bit in the second half. To be honest, balance of play second half, there was probably one team that was going to win it, and it was probably going to be us. Once we got the equaliser, we played really well second half. You wouldn't actually have known it was 11 versus 10, to be honest, which I suppose is a credit. The way we changed the team around was brilliant. You know, bringing McGeoch on as well, who now we will see more of if Max Power is banned. I know the club are talking about a appeal, but I don't think the appeal would work. I'd be surprised if it did, but I'm not sure. I hope it does. But yeah, Charlie White comes on, and it's Lyndon Gooch does some nice work, and the Sabutio goal will probably be rolling right now. Gooch does some nice work on the right hand side, fires a ball across goal, probably one of the main bits of quality we saw in the game from open play, and White gets a lovely little touch, and I was right behind it. I sit in the northwest, so I was right behind that one, and saw it hit off White and go in the bottom corner. It was a good goal. Madja had a couple of chances to score as well after that, so that was disappointing that he didn't get them, but we've been relying on him, and he's put away a lot of chances so far, so I'm not going to complain too much about him not putting them ones in. In the end, last 10 minutes, Oxford sort of, you know, huffed and puffed a bit in our half. I think we ran out a little bit of energy, and they were the ones forcing it. They did get a goal that was offside. I haven't seen the replay of it, so can't comment. Presume it was. Nobody's really complained about it. Yeah, and we ended up 1-1, and I think 1-1 in the circumstances, you know, I think if you asked any Sunderland fan at half time would they have took a draw, yeah, I think we would have took a draw, because we were outclassed first half. We were down to 10 men, and we looked a million miles away from getting anything from the game. So to pull out a draw was a really positive result. We're undefeated at home. We've not lost a game at the Stadium of Light, which I think is very important for Sunderland, because we have lost so many games at the Stadium of Light. Oh, I can change the calendar actually. Do you know what the amount of people who injured is about this? We're in September now. I'm going to do it on camera. August, September, there we are, Dave Watson. Done. There we are. So yeah, it was a good point. I think Sunderland got to be happy with it. Moving on to this week. First things first, we've got a podcast with Jeff Brown on Monday, which will be interesting. I've never actually spoken to Jeff Brown too much about Sunderland, so curious to see what he says. Tuesday we're playing Stoke in the Checker Trade. Interesting again. Have sort of, I don't know how I feel about playing Stoke under 23s. With Sunderland's first team playing Stoke under 23s just doesn't sit well with me. We'll be a strong team though, because we've got to play a certain amount of players. It's a silly rule, but we do. So yeah, Stoke City, we'll play them. That'll be an interesting game. And then on the weekend we've got Joey Barton's Fleetwood, which again will be an interesting game. Fleetwood are doing well this season, so if we can go against them and maybe get 3 points, then looking back at these 4 games, you know, as a group, the 4 games we've played, the 2 away and the 2 home, to get 10 points out of 12, I think would be a good return for that. So yeah, it was an interesting game. I'd be curious to see. I know that people will be debating the red and yellow card. I've sort of tried to sit on the fence a little bit. I did think if I was to pick a side, I probably would have given a red card. So I will go off the fence a little bit. But I'm curious. I think most Sunderland fans don't think it was a red card. I don't know what Oxford fans think about it. They probably thought it was a red card. But shows you how difficult the decision was for the referee. If, you know, you've got everyone split on what to give in real time, the referee's got one look at it and he has to make the decision. It was hard, but that's not to say that the referee doesn't deserve some criticism, because he does. He lost the game. I think he pulled up maybe the wrong fouls, and sometimes he was giving fouls, and sometimes he was booking players for certain things, and now we're not booking them other players for doing the same thing. So the referee, I think, does need to his performance does need to be questioned, but it was a difficult game for him to take charge of today. It was a hard game. It was a weird game of football. I've never quite really seen one like it, and that's probably just because we've never been in League One before, but it was just interesting. So yeah, also big up to the crowd, 32,000, decent. Oxford also brought up a good bunch. Spoke to the Not Top 20 podcast guys, who were good in the fan zone. That was an interesting experience, and yeah, all good. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Subscribe, like the video, all that sort of jazz, and yeah, I look forward to having Stuart on Friday, and I'm sure you'll have loads of bombshells and information for him. I'm sure he's going to talk all about Pappy and Didier and Dong and see what's happening there. Don't think we're going to see them in a Sunderland shirt again. I think possibly legal action I've been seeing. So we'll see what happens there. It's a bit of a messy situation. So that'll be good. I'm sure he's got plenty of other information to give her on Friday. So yes, thanks for watching, and thanks.